Hello and a warm welcome, dear viewer. The subject of today's show is already conveniently placed on the table right in front of us. What you're seeing here is the Reviboard, a very special and innovative training tool, which we will talk about in more detail today. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this talk with you, Oleg. I am very excited to learn more about the Reviboard. Let's jump right in with my first question. What exactly is the Reviboard? How would you describe it? The Reviboard is one of the most innovative skateboards in the world, even though I personally think you shouldn't call it a skateboard, because if you start comparing it to other things, then yes, it fits into the category of a skateboard. But the name Reviboard wasn't chosen randomly. It's a combination of two words, Revitaler and skateboard. The Revitaler is a product I developed a long time ago and hold a patent for. It's a medical device for whole body regeneration and circulation improvement. The Revitaler technology has been incorporated by placing the small Revitaler tiles onto the board. This combination makes the Reviboard a whole body regeneration and training tool. You can call it a training tool specifically to improve the skill set of your mind, body, and soul, and your overall health and well-being. We officially trademarked the word Reviboard, so now it's basically its own term, and we can say it's not a skateboard, it's a Reviboard. How is the Reviboard different compared to a common skateboard? I spent many years studying skateboards and sold a lot of them as well. Really good ones, which the developers claim to be the best in the world because of their flexibility. But then I realized that those boards quickly reach their limits, meaning they're too stiff and not in line with my understanding of flexibility and mobility. So, in reality, even the best common skateboards are very rigid, and that lack of flexibility causes problems for a lot of people. You have to be very careful stepping on and off the board, because with a wrong movement, the skateboard easily escapes, and people slip and make backward flips, sustain life-threatening injuries, and potentially break their arms and legs, or accidentally injure people or damage cars nearby. I watched those things happen a lot, and I noticed the amount of fear people had trying to step onto those regular skateboards related to that stiffness. And that desired muscle workout I had in mind wasn't being achieved either. So I thought there is no way around it. There is no need to complain. I'll just have to build my own skateboard to achieve what I have in mind. I put all of my knowledge and understanding of sports, training, and development into it, and we have already created the 7th version, which is the one that's in production now. If you had to describe what makes the Reviboard special, what would that be? I would say what's special about the Reviboard is that you can ride it in the smallest spaces. An area of 20 or even 10 square feet or 1 to 2 square meters is enough. And you can do that independently from weather conditions, at home, in your living room or your kitchen. Minimal effort, maximum results. Which also means that within a 5 to 10 minute workout, you are exercising every single one of your muscles, even the ones you didn't know you had. You are exercising a range of your skills, body, mind, and soul, all at once. And it's really addictive. It creates this floating sensation, that intense feeling of flying and floating, which I've never experienced on any other skateboard before. To achieve that, I purposely elevated the board and used special materials which gave it that specific movement flexibility. You don't actually feel the board's movements. You only feel your own body floating. You say the Reviboard is unique, and you are in the process of getting a patent for it. How can you explain the uniqueness and the patent? Well, in theory, there's no need for a patent. We could have just gone into production. But I applied for it as a matter of principle. I worked night and day throughout the 4-year development process. We built many prototypes. And to test those, we'd ride them up and down the streets, and people who happened to run into us kept on saying, "Oh, we've seen this before, it already exists, it's just this and that," or similar to a wave board, for example. And I said, no, it's not similar and not comparable at all. It's completely different. Completely different effect. Everything's different. So I said, okay, I will file a patent, because when you file, you're basically forced to prove its uniqueness. I then started researching worldwide. I tasked many of my friends and hired a patent lawyer, and no one was able to find anything. So then we specifically had the patent office look into it, and the examiner said there's nothing standing in our way because there really isn't anything comparable out there. It is truly unique. Now, if someone comes to me and claims it's similar to something they know, I can say, no, there's nothing like it. Stop blabbering, please. Its construction, functionality, and movement properties are truly unique. No other skateboard in the world can match its agility. And great maneuverability in such a small space, that's very special. In the smallest space. It can even move diagonally and turn around its own axis. You can move like in figure skating, and all that is possible at a very low speed. What effect does riding the Reviboard have in relation to someone's mindset? Does anything change? Yes, a lot changes. That was my initial thought, to not just build a training tool to work out your muscles. There are enough of those out there already. But one that has a very strong impact on mindset and personality development. With the Reviboard, you have to learn to think very fast. You have to be very creative and extremely precise. You have to develop great concentration, flexibility, fine motor skills, and neuroplasticity. You have to apply so many skills and actively use your learning abilities. That also means that you can't just put a Reviboard in front of you and ride it. I noticed that a lot of well-trained athletes, even professional skaters who compete in European championships, will stand on a Reviboard and be so stiff that they can't even move. And they notice their own, not just physical, but also mental stiffness, which becomes apparent right away. It's a big challenge for everybody. Safety, a very important topic. How do you deal with a situation when someone is afraid of those new moves on a Reviboard? The safety topic was one of the biggest priorities. Why? Because it was the reason I developed my own board in the first place. As I said, that stiffness regular skateboards have makes them less flexible. And if you make a wrong move and it skids away, people often fall backwards, which leads to many problems. With the Reviboard, it's the opposite. By simply tilting your foot, the wheels turn accordingly. You can say lock, and the person can comfortably step on and off. Very simple story. It's not a problem anymore. So when it comes to safety, it has the highest safety standards. Something I learned from my own experience, I can give you an example with my children. For 12 years, I tried to teach them how to skate on those other American versions. We packed 5 skateboards into our car to take them on vacation with us. I have 3 kids, so we took boards for the whole family. But no matter how hard I tried to explain or demonstrate, no one wanted to do it. They were all scared. They tried, but said, no, we don't want to. So at some point after 12 years, I gave up. And then I developed a prototype for the Reviboard. And my kids saw me riding it, and without me even saying anything, they basically ripped it out of my hands, got on it right away without any problems or fears, as if they had never done anything else. A lot of people approached me about it and said, oh wow, that looks great. By the way, regarding safety, when a regular skateboard escapes, it goes at full speed and could even kill someone when it takes off downhill because it keeps accelerating. That won't happen with the Reviboard. As soon as you step off, even jump off the Reviboard, it comes back to you like a loyal horse. It will basically circle around you but not escape. That means a lot of safety for everyone close by. I got some very interesting reassurance in France while testing the prototype. Our neighbors, 4 German sport teachers, watched us for quite a while and then approached me and said, it's quite fascinating what you're doing here. We tried teaching the kids in school how to skate and had a tremendous amount of problems and injuries. And they gave up because the risk was too high. They said the way the board always comes back was very fascinating to them because it is such a huge safety factor, especially for kids and schools. With the Reviboard, you talk about body coordination in connection with mathematics. How are body coordination and math linked? Yes, first of all, I have to say there is a huge connection because mathematics always gets compared to numbers. What is math? It's a science of quantities. But what kind? I say it's about energy. All we deal with is energy. That's all there is. Take information, for example. It's an amount of energy which stimulates our senses. What happens if we take coordination as an example? The musculature and the whole body have to be controlled and directed simultaneously. A stronger connection to reality has to be formed. Interest in that reality has to be shown. The whole body has to configure itself for that new reality, meaning that, again, a lot of decisions have to be made. Fine motor skills have to be actively engaged. Muscles have to be controlled. The body has to give feedback. You have to make decisions based on the state of your condition in connection to reality. Basically calculate how much force is needed for this particular turn, how much force is needed here, how much effort will it take to ride a curve a certain way, how much do I have to lean forward or backward. These are all amounts of energy that have to be shifted. I have to make a new decision every single time. I have to constantly calculate an amount of energy and develop a sense for making those decisions. That's energy management at its best. Pure mathematics. I am convinced as soon as someone starts riding a Reviboard, their math math skills will improve. It kind of sounds like riding a Reviboard makes you smarter and more intelligent. Yes, and that is indeed the case. Many people give us feedback and confirm this in their reports and reviews they write us. I've been riding the Reviboard for 6 weeks with a growing enthusiasm and joy. It's a lot of fun, but the best thing is that my mental processing capacity and thinking speed have significantly improved. I'm noticing it because my memory is much better. Finding words is easier, remembering names and places which used to be a little challenging for me before. That makes me very happy. But the best thing I experienced yesterday while flying, I've been flying ultralight planes passionately for 4 years, but it was always accompanied by fear, stress, and discomfort, especially before, but also partially during the flight. That completely changed yesterday. I went flying for the first time since I started riding the Reviboard, and I was only experiencing pure joy, without stress, fear, or the discomfort. Those were completely gone. And I'm to 100% crediting the Reviboard exercise and the resulting improvement of my mental processing capacity and thinking speed. And I'm very grateful for this. I will continue riding my Reviboard, further improve my skills and my mental processing capacity, and I'm looking forward to all the things I will experience in the future. I figured that should be the result. Having to make more decisions, smarter decisions, will make you happier in general. You are training concentration, fast thinking, nervous system, neuroplasticity. But what I noticed is that Reviboard users are noticing these results in their everyday life. They are reporting that suddenly they're able to see solutions for certain problems they haven't been able to see before, get ideas much faster they weren't able to come up with before in that form. That is because of their thinking speed, the improved ability to process information. Their whole nervous system and psyche are being trained, and the person definitely gets smarter. You are basically getting mentally fitter. Yes, because becoming smarter also means improving your learning ability. The Reviboard is like a mirror to your soul. It shows how people live their everyday lives, how they approach things, how they learn new things and in which way, how fast they give up or how much grit they develop, the interest and strategy they develop, how fast they make decisions. All of that is completely visible in that moment, and it allows you to improve or develop new learning methods. Every achievement creates a feeling of happiness, that floating sensation. I would like to quote a few words I came across on your website. Everything genius is simple, and living simplicity is an art. What is it about the Reviboard that's genius, and what on the other hand is simple about it? Genius is that so many different sports are being combined, from surfing, skateboarding, and snowboarding snowboarding to being the ideal training tool for integral movement prophylaxis. The integral movement prophylaxis is a method I developed to exercise the whole body within 3 minutes, which is great because you're really exercising muscles you didn't even know you still had. At the same time, you get smarter, younger, your immune system improves, circulation too. I can explain how that's all connected in more detail. But at the same time, it's simple because with minimal effort, you get maximum results. You can use it in the smallest space. It really doesn't take much. You don't even have to wear shoes. You can take it apart within 5 seconds, put it in a small backpack, and carry it around easily. It's straightforward, hassle-free, very low maintenance because there really is no maintenance required. It's built for life. So that's simple. We will take a quick look to see how fast it can be taken apart and packed up to be transported. What kind of materials were used for the Reviboard? That is something I thought about very thoroughly. I did a lot of materials research, and I also very specifically met with established professors in materials research. The Reviboard's frame is made of a particular airplane aluminum. It has the quality of steel, but the weight of aluminum, which is one of the absolute best available. Then the surface is made of a special polycarbonate, which is a very specific bulletproof glass used in the banking world, for example. It is 250 times harder than glass, meaning it's extremely shatterproof. The original Revvy tiles on top, by the way, are even stronger, so that if you hit it with a hammer or the Reviboard falls over and hits the concrete, all that can happen is that the edges slightly round off. But there is no abrasion. They won't break. And it's very comfortable to use barefoot. It's very stable. And you have a firm stand on it. Yes, that's correct. It's non-slip. No matter what kind of shoes, you always have a 100% secure stand. The material in between is an acrylic. It's a very high-quality luminescent acrylic, so if you only have the tiniest light source hitting it from anywhere, it basically glows in the dark. And it looks like there's a light bulb built into it that lights up. Of course, design plays a role, but it's a functional design. It's a safety feature so that if, for example, a car approaches you, you are immediately visible because the whole board lights up. And in that sense, the material is very important to me. Additionally, the wheels are made of the highest quality material as well, due to their special DNA formula. And they are about 40% more resilient than regular skateboard wheels. You're mentioning the wheels. At first, they don't look round, which is surprising because obviously they must be round, otherwise they wouldn't roll. That is a question I get all the time. It's probably the #1 question why the wheels look square. The wheels are round, but it's a special patented invention by Shark Wheel, a company in the United States. And that shape is specifically constructed so you can ride over debris and pebbles over slippery and polished surfaces. You can't do that that with regular skateboard wheels. They don't have enough grip. So there's a lot of safety and stability built into them. They're made to last a lifetime, even at very high speeds. Oh, and talking about made for a lifetime and design playing a role. If you look at the Reviboard from below, you'll see this shape. It looks like it's all one piece. But in reality, there are a lot of essential pieces hidden inside. One of them being the ball bearing, which can withstand 15 tons in weight. So even if we had a few elephants standing on it, it wouldn't cause any problems. And even though you can't see it from the outside, we used extremely high quality industrial standard materials with outstanding stability. The slide bearing we build in is industrial standard, meaning that no matter the pitch point or movement, you won't feel any type of friction. And that's what creates that immediate lightness and that floating sensation, because you only feel your own body. You already talked about the Revvy tiles on top, which are recessed and set into the surface in a way that you can stand on it barefoot without any issues. Yes, that is also an important nuance. Those tiles sit much higher on the Revvy. On the Reviboard, they're set much lower into the surface. First of all, that way the tiles sit on there very safely and can't fall off. I even tested it without fixture and they didn't come off. Second of all, it allows you to ride barefoot and lets you enjoy the benefits of acupressure and regeneration on a solid foothold all at the same time. If you look at regular skateboards, they use sandpaper, which is tiring. It wears down your shoes. Straight out of the Stone Age, really. Just not good. And it's ideal for being barefoot, like we already said, right? Are the mobility and the steering ability of the Reviboard the result of its construction? Yes, it's a very, very specific construction. When I first thought about developing my own skateboard, I wanted to build something that didn't exist yet in this world. One thing I noticed about regular skateboards was that they all have this rubber bushing built in, which is very soft. So the person wiggles back and forth, and it takes a lot of work for the body to steer the board in the right direction. So a lot of energy gets lost steering, and the steering itself becomes very imprecise, and the skateboard can barely even make it and has to ride this wide curve. So that's why I say that's from the Stone Age. And why is no one thinking to just use a cogwheel? Because the cogwheel allows for a razor-sharp steering with millimeter precision. If you envision the curve, it will go exactly where you want it to go. It exactly mirrors your mindset. That way, you are not only training high concentration and fast thinking, but also high precision thinking. So I researched, and the cogwheel is not being used in skateboards anywhere. That's very surprising, but of course I'm very happy that I discovered it, because that really reflects my idea of precision and training, not just some wibble wobble, floundering and butt shaking and then complaining about knee problems. Instead, there has to be extreme precision throughout the whole body and fine-tuning of all muscles. And that is why the cogwheels fit right into that concept. What's the link between design and functionality? That is something I already explained a little bit. For safety, for example, we have the glow elements. Bulletproof glass, which is also UV resistant and shatterproof. We tested it always possible, throwing it against walls, concrete, just to see what happens. And nothing happened. Maybe a little scratch, but you can't even see it. We passed an official safety test by the technical control board, where it got fully loaded and then catapulted against the wall, and nothing happened to it. So it's completely idiot-proof, even though it's not meant for that kind of force. The decks have a triple-layer base, so it's made for all contingencies, even if you bounce it up and down. But again, that's not what it's meant for. It is not made for jumping. The shape is not a coincidence. It's my own research that's behind it. It's not necessary to have the surface area of a full board. The board area in the middle is just lost space and additional weight, which is simply a hassle if you're taking it on a plane, for example. The shape of the decks isn't a coincidence either. Your foot has to be placed right on it, and if it was bigger or a square shape, the weight distribution would be off. It would tip the board and cause other problems. So this way, you are forced to stand correctly. Weight distribution is perfect, stability is perfect, you feel safe right away, as if it was custom-made. It means its design shows you how to do it right. The cogwheel underneath looks nice and well-made. But it's not just that. There are parts built in which clean out any dirt. I specifically developed a self-cleaning mechanism for it. The other parts are sealed off to keep any dirt particles or fluids out. We have been testing it at the beach in Holland and France, in high humidity and under very sandy and salty air conditions. 3 years later, it still looks like new, and we haven't had any problems. The wheels too, by the way. After 4 years of testing, they're still as good as new. You talk about the applicability and improvements to all areas of your everyday life that come from riding the Reviboard. How does that work? Let me explain it this way. The training on the Reviboard is not just a physical body workout. It is truly for body, mind, and soul. That is why, after only 5 to 10 minutes, you will feel the circulation throughout your whole body. You can feel all of your muscles being activated. You feel stress and tension disappearing, and it fills people with joy. All the people I taught how to ride and who later sent me videos of themselves riding at home look so happy with huge radiant smiles on their faces, saying thank you and that it's better than any Christmas present. Some will put it right by their bed, sometimes checking in at night, making sure the Reviboard is okay, still glowing and shining. We have a lot of reviews like that on our homepage.
you can really see how much joy people get out of the whole regeneration process. The mobility, concentration, creativity, fast thinking, all of those aspects have a huge recreational effect. Suddenly people get mental clarity, they can think straight and don't have that brain fog anymore. So you can really see the effect in all areas of people's lives. They are glowing. Some say they lost 3 kilos right away after practicing for 2 to 3 days. Some say they have never felt such joy for life and are suddenly craving movement and exercise, which is very interesting. Sometimes people will recall that floating sensation and suddenly tears just start running down their face. They carry that happiness to the outside and they get approached about it a lot. For example, Patrick, he's just practicing and testing the Reviboard, and then this woman going full speed in her BMW suddenly slams on the brakes, gets out, and says with huge eyes, "What the heck is this?" She had never seen anything like it, and it fascinated her from a 20-meter distance. From her car. Yes, from her car. It even motivated her to get out and approach him. I made that experience on vacation a few times while testing our prototypes in France and Holland. People would be on their way to the beach, and while I was just riding around the parking lot, a crowd of 100 people would gather around me, and suddenly no one wanted to go to the beach anymore. It was funny seeing grown-up people with big eyes like happy little children, all wanting to have a Reviboard. I will give you another example. My friend Marco Jonker owns a sports store in Holland, and he asked me to please bring a prototype to the store because he would like to eventually sell them. I said, sure, no problem. I brought a prototype with me and was waiting for him to finish up with a customer. In that moment, I turn around, and there are 20 people standing behind me. I apologized. I said I didn't want to be in the way and stepped aside. But they said, "Oh, no, we wanted to talk to you." You were the attraction. I waved at him and said, "Look, I already have all these customers standing in line for a Reviboard." You talk about activating fast thinking. How does that happen? How does it work that you are on the Reviboard and suddenly your mind works faster? I can get into that math example from earlier again. It's really about making a lot of decisions, and making a lot of decisions in life means shifting around a lot of energy. And to do that, the whole nervous system has to be developed accordingly. If you look at the Reviboard, it says fine motor skills on it. Those are the magic words, because fine motor skills means fine-tuning of all muscles. It's not about having huge inflated muscles like a bodybuilder that no one needs. They're only there to impress people who don't love us, by the way. Fine motor skills means only the most important muscles, because every muscle you build has to be supplied with blood. That all costs energy, which has to be shifted around. So the speed of thought and the fine-tuning play a big role. Talking about speed of thought, here it's possible to activate that fast thinking, right? Yes. First of all, you have to make a decision. The person is writing, which is integral movement prophylaxis in action. It's a dynamic process. When you are doing a workout while standing, you can be very sloppy and not even notice. But when you're writing, riding, you will notice that sloppiness right away. If you make the wrong movements, there's no harmony. The coordination isn't right. The connection to reality isn't there. You'll miss things and crash into them. You have to connect the right thoughts and develop the right strategy and combine so many aspects that you are forced to think differently. So the quality of your thinking automatically improves. Got it. I'm going to quote you again. The quality of the description of your goals is very likely a representation of your future lifestyle. What do you mean by that? You can take that literally. To me, the Reviboard is a mirror to your soul. It tells me everything about a person. When people are too full of themselves, overrating their skills, they will pretend that they can do everything, but in reality, they can't do anything. They try, but can't do it. They lack coordination, fine motor skills. They can't implement fast thinking. The body is too stiff. They're too tensed up and stubborn. And just jump off and say, I can't do it, it doesn't work. Another person, on the other hand, will develop their own strategy on how to get better, how to move a certain way. You have to imagine all of that, draft it in your head, and visually picture how your body moves into the curve. So that basically exactly mirrors your life strategy. If someone develops a strategy in life and sees, okay, I have to reconfigure, I have to act differently, I have to change the way I think, that willingness to change, that flexibility and courage is very important with the Reviboard. Without enough courage, you'll be too scared to lean into a curve, to use the momentum. If you are too scared to walk, you'll have to crawl through life. Or if you're too scared of riding a Reviboard, you'll have to ride a skateboard for the rest of your life. It really shows everything, how you approach and define the small goals in between. The quality of those goals represents the quality of your life. If you are too scared or too sloppy setting a goal, you will ride just as sloppy. If you learn and execute it correctly, you will be awarded right away. Happiness, joy, the floating. It's the sense of achievement that makes people tear up full of joy. That's the best proof that everything is going well. If a person is too stiff and tensed up, it won't work. And I'm talking about people who actually compete in skateboarding. They ride it way too stiff, as if one side was paralyzed. And then later complain about the Reviboard saying one side doesn't move properly. I say something inside of your brain doesn't move properly. Switch sides and you'll see. And those people compete in European championships. So even professionals, yes, professionals, they wiggle around, shake their feet and butt a little bit, and don't even move their upper body. It was embarrassing to them once they realized how stiff they really are, because they have grown accustomed to regular skateboards. Who can ride a Reviboard? Are there any age limits, or does it matter at all?
Komplett egal und komplett wurscht, wie alt jemand ist.
As a joke, I wrote in our information sheets that kids up to the age of 10 should be supervised by their parents and adults above 80 should be supervised by children. So there's no age limit really. A lot of people told me, oh, you can't write that because starting at 50, 60 there could be issues and higher risk for injuries. But I have to say, 70, 80-year-old people ride the Reviboard and they are very happy. It's all dependent on the way you think. If a person wants something, age doesn't matter. I found out that 80, 90-year-old people develop a completely new muscular system, as if they were kids, completely new. I have been saying I want to start taking before and after pictures at the Reviboard seminar because people look clearly younger, and if they keep training, they will keep getting younger and fitter.
Age doesn't matter. Brain cells can be repaired through the right movements. How does that work? By standing on the Reviboard and moving correctly? Does that have influence on the brain?
Yes, it does have an influence on the brain. The magical word is neuroplasticity, because the whole brain and nervous system always adjust everything based on your life goals and life strategy. Going back to the question from earlier, the body, mind, and soul work in a way that as soon as there's a clear idea of what your life strategy and goals are, everything starts to restructure itself. Body, mind, and soul examine everything and make decisions based on what's not needed anymore and on what is needed and must be repaired. So everything unnecessary gets removed, and everything that is needed but not healthy gets repaired. For that reason, it is called neuroplasticity. Another keyword is mental digestion. Everything gets digested and processed, and that is why a lot of people even lose weight at first. Because everything that's not part of the new structure gets removed, and then everything needed, new muscles, get built. It's a whole construction site that's now open, and as a result, everything gets repaired, not just the brain. The brain itself is only an interface for the musculature, and musculature is controlled by the brain, meaning the brain adjusts itself. New musculature needs a new brain. New nerve cells, new pathways, the nervous system gets strengthened. Higher concentration means more electricity flows. And a stronger flow of electricity means a stronger psyche. And when the nervous system works with high intensity, muscles are working, the lymph system starts working immediately, and the whole immune system optimizes itself at the same time. Those scavenger cells eat up everything that's not part of it, and everything restructures itself. You could say it's like a newborn person. Neuroplasticity is basically a reconfiguration of the brain for a new situation. It is a direct analogy to the human thought process and behavior, because neuroplasticity can't exist without fine motor skills. I will tell you why. Because fine motor skills means a lot of musculature, which we aren't even aware of, but it's all there, gets activated. And as I said, in response, the nervous system starts to rebuild. New wires, new reinforcements. It's a full brain optimization. And a lot of fine motor skills means very high concentration. So a lot of energy has to be shifted. This energy, electricity, the whole nervous system has to be built out. It all goes hand in hand. Without fine motor skills, there is no neuroplasticity, and vice versa. It is strongly connected to adjusting to reality. That is why it's so effective for people who are scared, tense, very uptight, too stiff maybe. Those people suddenly become very flexible, a lot more courageous and excited about life. They start exploring, because that is a dynamic process. So you can see the connection between fine motor skills and neuroplasticity and behavior in everyday life. If someone thinks about this and says, you could achieve those same results continuously running a marathon, Would you say that's too one-sided and wouldn't work? Yes, a lot of people go running, and if someone wants to do that, that is fine. But in my opinion, if you always do the same thing over and over, it is almost like driving out your soul. I did a lecture. There were 300 of the top marathon athletes, trainers for the national team, sports professors, and a lot of press. And I asked the athletes if they would run a marathon in the middle of the night alone without anybody knowing about it. They said no. That means it's not about the marathon. It's about being part of it and showing off and proving something to other people. It is purely mind-driven, but has nothing to do with actual enjoyment. So, to be honest, to me, that whole audience seemed a little as if they were from a special clinic or something like that. Where is the Reviboard manufactured? Very good question. Of course, I got a lot of offers right away and suggestions to manufacture in China or Eastern Bloc countries to make it cheaper. But I said, out of principle, I want to manufacture in Germany. It was very important to me to have it handmade in Germany. High precision is essential to guarantee the quality. I searched for a long time. We approached over 200 companies in Germany. And it's almost like telling a joke, because out of 200, only 20 even believed that we were serious about this. So 20 companies replied. The others didn't need the business, I guess. And we got such a wide range of very different offers that for a moment I wasn't even sure if we would really be able to produce in Germany. Production cost seemed to be consistent, let's say between around 5,000 to 6,000 euro plus tax for milling only, without any of the upper materials, no details, and not even accounting for our cost. It was a big challenge, and it took me 4 years to find the right company. But through a recommendation, I finally found one in Bavaria. And the price is right? The price is right and everything fits. They are proud to be manufacturing our Reviboard, and we are very happy with them. The Reviboard targets and addresses 3 essential areas of a person: the body, mind, and soul. How is the Reviboard able to cover all of those 3 areas? Regular workout tools focus on muscle training and are not even trying to target the mind, and especially not the soul. If you take a classic sport like running, for example, and you go into the woods, get fresh air, see the sunset or sunrise, I can see how it can include that soul element. Or especially when you are working out in the water or on the beach. But it is only a side effect. It is not the result of the actual sport. Theoretically, you could just go on a nice walk and get fresh air to fulfill that need. The Reviboard actively creates this effect, and the soul benefits directly as a result of real movements and real success. The soul component basically benefits from success. Now, let's define happiness. My definition of happiness is maintaining satisfaction. But what is satisfaction? My definition of satisfaction is agreeing with the result and quality of your own work. And if you have a very clear vision of the movements, the speed, the precision, and then agree with the result, you are satisfied. And the longer you're able to maintain that state, the happier you become. And that is the real soul component. All three factors are being considered and addressed equally. None of them is favored or neglected, and that is what's so special and unique. Exactly. All muscles are being trained simultaneously. Plus, the mind, which is responsible for logic. Logic also refers to energy management within the body, understanding and calculating when to lean into the curve, at what speed precisely, at which estimated angle. The mind is responsible for all that math in the background. And for the soul component, we have success, the results and quality, and that feeling of floating, which comes in addition to everything else. It feels so real because there is no resistance. The slide and ball bearing we build into the Reviboard are so smooth that you don't feel any friction. It actually feels like you are floating, flying above ground. Body, mind, and soul become one. And that is no coincidence. It's a result of everything going hand in hand. To name a common issue, what if a person has knee problems, for example? Is there any support that can be offered, and is there a way they can be helped? That's a very common question. People tell me that they would have loved to ride the Reviboard, but they have knee problems, joint problems. And I say that is exactly why it's ideal for them. Because on a regular skateboard, people are way too stiff and don't involve the whole body. They wiggle around with their legs and their butt, but that is a lot of one-sided stress on the knees and joints. If people listen to me and pay attention to what I say when I teach them, none of this will be an issue on the Reviboard. In my seminar, I show everything, including all exercises, very precisely. The full body and muscle involvement, use of fine motor skills, coordination. If all of that is applied, your musculature and ligaments engage and cushion your joints. The even weight distribution immediately relieves the joints. That smoothness means minimal effort with maximum results and no critical movements. You feel the immediate ease. Circulation and regeneration are activated, and joint issues, joint pain, disappear immediately. The stepping off wasn't exactly how Oleg said to do it. My review's the following. I had developed severe knee pain last year as a result of spending 4 to 5 hours in my car, 200 to 300 kilometers daily for work. The angled position is a constant strain on my knee, and usually I'd have to get out of the car after an hour to straighten out my leg and crack my knee. Painkillers didn't help, nothing helped. So Oleg told me to simply ride the Reviboard and practice. I bought the Reviboard about 2 months ago, and I have been completely pain-free for a month now. The pain started decreasing after the first day, really. So I only have positive things to say, and this is obviously not only a sports tool, but also a medical device. The Reviboard is a multifunctional device and combines several different sports within itself. What impact does it have on your musculature? The idea behind it is to optimize your musculature. I want to say this. It is not good to train muscles you don't need. Imagine, we go to the gym, work out, our muscles grow and grow, but all we need those muscles for is to impress people who don't love us. Now, those muscles have to be supplied with blood. That costs energy. Its additional weight completely changes the statics within the body. It has a tremendous effect on health. You can ruin your health by training musculature that's not needed. On the other hand, if you train musculature you do need and perfectly fine-tune all the muscles, and you do this in combination with fast thinking, coordination, fine motor skills, neuroplasticity, the opposite happens, and your body starts optimizing itself. Musculature is attached to the bones. What happens when those muscles start working? Bone density increases. When bone density increases, the information flow improves because bones transmit information even faster than the nervous system. That is important. And not only the bone density increases in response to the muscle activity, but also the bone marrow and spinal cord respond by starting to increase blood production. The actively working musculature acts as a blood pump. All tensions and blockages dissipate, which is a relief on the cardiac cycle and the heart, while also allowing the nervous system to recover. The blood flows due to the musculature acting as a blood pump, which leads to the stabilization of metabolism, increases detoxification. The musculature is also directly connected to the lymph system, which means that the lymph system doesn't work without musculature. But once the lymph system works, your immune system starts working immediately. You can see how beneficial it is. Or let's explain it this way. Blood is the main transportation tissue. So your whole body is active. Blood flows through the entire musculature. And what happens? The blood crosses the magnetic fields of your inner organs. Natural induction occurs, resulting in more electricity being generated, which immediately relieves the nervous system. This also results in a huge relief for the psyche. You will feel the immediate ease, as if you were fully rested straight from a vacation. Another important point to understand is that your body consists to 100% of energy, atoms, for example. If that is the case, I'll say, what is an illness? It's an energy state that you are not able to cope with. Think about it. If you went to the psychiatrist and told him your atoms have a cold, he would strongly advise you to stay. How could atoms have a headache? It's impossible. You are simply in a certain energy state which you are unable to handle. Now, how does healing work? Exactly like that. As soon as a person is able to distribute energy throughout the whole body and gets it to flow evenly, any congestion and blockages dissipate. It instantly supports regeneration and all regulating processes, and the body's ability to heal itself. Optimal self-healing and recovery start immediately. As soon as the body, mind, and soul are simultaneously able to evenly distribute an excess or lack of energy, the optimal, ideal self-healing and regeneration process begins, no matter what condition you have. What are the options for beginners who have never even been on a skateboard? Are there any possible obstacles or restrictions? It's about learning how to develop your musculature, how to improve. You don't even have to buy a Reviboard for that. You just have to try to begin with. The seminar is perfect for beginners. I personally even prefer if someone doesn't have any previous experience, because a lot of people who do are very set in their ways already. They try to progress, holding on to old patterns, which doesn't work. On the other hand, if somebody doesn't know anything, it is very easy to work with them because I meet everybody at their personal level. And the first thing that happens is that the initial fear disappears and you understand the simplicity of it. And then the next step is working on your mindset. When I first picked up the prototype, I unwrapped it, and without any previous practice, not even a second, I was able to ride perfectly. What that means is that it's not about practice. It's about your mindset. Everything else, your body, the fine motor skills, it all immediately adjusts to it. So the more flexible someone is, the faster it will work. But if the flexibility is not there yet, it's okay. That's why we work on it. We develop those skills. And in the end, being able to ride is proof that it works. And those feelings of joy are the reward. That's why you have to work a lot on your mindset, the way you think, shedding the fear first through those specific exercises, then experiencing the joy of being able to ride, the happiness and improved imagination. That's all part of it. Is this the final version of the Reviboard, or are there going to be additional or different versions in the future? This version is in serial production the way it is, but of course I already thought a step further and developed a special adapter. If you remove the connecting rod, you can let both feet ride separately. The adapter adds the necessary stability, and with both feet riding independently from each other, it adds even more challenges and possibilities. It opens up a whole new dimension, which means it's really something you can challenge yourself with for the rest of your life. It's ideal for a lifelong, continuous personal development. And to take it another step further, since we are comparing it to surfing and snowboarding, I have developed a wave platform which has already been constructed and is now being built. Every Reviboard rider can test out the wave here with us first, and then you can buy the modular units and connect as many as you like. It's going to be 6 meters wide, but you can make it as long as you like. It is a real complete wave, which you can actually ride. It offers endless training possibilities. A lot of fun. You might never go surfing again if you have this right at home. It provides perfect conditions, perfect quality, and it's just a ton of fun. And now imagine riding the wave with the single Reviboard units using the adapter. That's the highest form of riding it. If you can do that, you deserve a Medal of Honor and a golden gummy bear on top. You say the Reviboard is suited for the laziest among us, but being a beginner and hearing about all those advanced challenges, it doesn't seem to be something for a lazy bum. Well, to start off, I'm a lazy bum myself. I worked night and day for 16 years, non-stop consultations, running seminars, etc. Never took even a day off. On paper I did, but in reality I was still doing phone calls and everything else. Of course I gained 60 pounds and lost all my hair as a result. And I felt happy. But I realized that physically, if I continued doing this, it could get life-threatening. I had completely neglected myself, and I realized that most people probably feel the same way. They would have liked to have engaged in more activities and to have exercised, but there are countless other responsibilities and always more things to take care of, basically saving the world and forgetting about yourself. We tend to do too much on one end and not enough on the other. And somewhere in the middle, we forget about ourselves. And 99% of the people who come to me say about themselves that they are lazy bums. That's why they are happy something like this exists. It is ideal because it gives you the opportunity to achieve maximum results with minimal effort. Really easy from home, for example. No big effort at all, and you can get your exercise. It makes people so happy because most of them had already given up internally. They would have never thought that they could do any type of sport ever again, not even mentioning any type of skateboarding. And they tell me straight up that without me and the trust they have in me, they would have never even touched it. Some being extremely obese, depressed, or with all kinds of other issues. And what's so interesting is that those people see results immediately. They see the developments and how muscles effectively connect and respond, how pain goes away. It all works. That's what the Reviboard is meant for. It is not meant for kids. Of course, kids can do it, but they don't appreciate it as much because they figure it out right away and think it's a given. But being able to make those movements, to gain that much quality of life, that's not a given in today's society. So those people who already gave up or keep saying maybe one day, because deep inside that longing is there, but they feel quote-unquote too old, that's who the Reviboard is perfect for. The moment everything else has failed, the Reviboard becomes interesting. Many people have worked their whole life and completely forgot themselves. Some will program themselves to exercise thinking it's beneficial, but end up doing very one-sided workouts. And that is not beneficial at all. Most people end up suffering from it. I personally know people, for example, who went running every day and suddenly had a heart attack. And then they would come to me complaining, asking why they got a heart attack, since they went running every day. And I say, why aren't you allowed to get a heart attack? That is your reward for your one-sidedness. It's slave thinking. If I go running every day on time, I have earned the right to stay healthy. But there's no holistic approach, no integral understanding of health, musculature, and everything that's connected to it. Don't care about anything and completely miss the point, just go running, like a robot, fulfilling their duty. They don't get that every run has a different impact on you. I'm exaggerating now, but if you go running and have a fever, the stress on your body is 1,000,000 times higher than normal. But the same is true for any other pain or problem you might have. It all has a direct impact on your health. But people will force themselves regardless, and that is how you drive out your soul, and then wonder why you get a heart attack. Well, you truly got us excited and intrigued about the Reviboard now. Is there anything important we missed, or did we cover everything that you wanted to talk about? It is important to me for people to understand that the Reviboard is not meant for everybody. It really is for people who engage themselves with their own personality development, people who are interested in progress and want to consciously work on themselves. That involves continuous learning. It's not meant for someone who wants to show off. It is really meant for specific people, and I'm convinced that those people will find the Reviboard. To put it simply, I'm not interested in selling and just dispatching as many as possible at any cost, because people have an extremely exaggerated opinion of themselves and their skills, and then they get disappointed fairly quickly because it doesn't work right away, even though it's not the Reviboard's fault. The Reviboard always does what it's told. If you're being sloppy, you will get that sloppiness thrown right back at you. I want people to learn, to get to know themselves first, their own mindset, their skills. Then pay attention to the basics and the quality. Quality is very important to me. The rest comes on its own. Thank you very much. That was a compelling talk and obviously an innovative and exciting device. Dear viewers, you heard it, and Oleg, you convinced me. That's how easy it can be to do something for your own health and evolve. And on that note, goodbye and until next time. I would like to share one of my Reviboard experiences with you. It has completely opened up the motor functions on my left side, which previously was pretty much incapacitated. Not until I started riding the Reviboard did I even learn about that issue. I knew from swimming that I couldn't breathe well on the left side. 2 days after training on the Reviboard, I went swimming, and without thinking about it, my breathing was perfectly even on both sides. And I'm convinced that that was a direct result of the Reviboard training. My recommendation? Try it yourself. Hey Patricia, how did you like the Reviboard seminar? I loved it. It's 8 hours later and I have more energy than I had before. So yeah, that's great. And joy is there? Absolutely. I'm full of joy and vitality and desire for more Reviboard. You came all the way from Los Angeles. Do you see yourself taking one home with you and riding it around LA? Yes, I'm definitely taking one home and can't wait to cruise along the beach with it. Is it mostly the fun or because it's giving you so much physically and energetically? Both, really. I feel how it's giving me a lot physically, because I don't think I've ever used all of my muscles at the same time the way I did on the Reviboard. But at the same time, it's just a lot of fun. Do you think you'll be sore tomorrow? Maybe a little bit, but that's okay. Gabrielle and Krista, what was your experience like today? We feel like we can do it. We did a good job. We still have to work on a few more details to go ahead, but other than that, it was great. It looks pretty complicated at first, having to keep your balance. It's not hard once you know how to do it, and getting there is fun. We need to practice a lot more, but it's great. It's absolutely genius. And what are you taking home from today? Was it fun or more about the physical exercise? Just to keep practicing. It was great. I can't even fully describe it yet. It was comprehensive, profound, and brilliant. That means you can see yourself practicing at home? Yes, we will definitely keep practicing at home. Thank you both. How did you like the Reviboard seminar? It was perfect. I had such a good time. In the beginning, it was a little shaky, but after a few hours, as you could see, I slowly got the feeling. I would have never thought that I could make so much progress during only such a short time of practice. Amazing. I can obviously see your joy. Yes, it's pretty obvious, I think. I'm happy. I feel like a little child playing with my favorite toy. Yes, it's pure joy of life. Are you planning on taking one home to keep practicing? Oh, definitely. Especially after that progress I just made. Realizing how fun this is. Oleg, I think you already know it, but I am only now realizing what it really is that you built, what you did there, and how you implemented all those years of knowledge into the Reviboard to perfect it. I was finally able to really feel the floating sensation, the ease, just like Bora described it in the interview, when he said that he felt like a little child. When I asked you how to get rid of my red eye and you told me to distribute the energy and feel light, all of that is there. It's what you told us about fantasy, allowing ourselves to think and imagine. How an illusion is followed by a fairy tale. Those beautiful pictures you showed us of Moscow at Christmas time. All that you get with the Reviboard as soon as you ride. Yesterday, I worked on my left side and I was able to turn.
I started playing chess again at 3 minutes and kept getting to 10 to 11 points non-stop. A few months ago, I was barely making it to 3 points. It's unbelievable. Oleg, I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I just realized what it is that you built. All of your interviews are like a movie that just keeps getting better and better, and it makes you crave more. Because look at how I am talking about this now. It makes me question why I don't watch other interviews over, but yours time after time. Oleg, thank you. Amazing work. It overshadows everything. I'm so thankful for knowing you, and thank you, Michael, that you, through your network, introduced me to Oleg. Thank you. And thank you for even stepping into the public, Oleg, and that there are people out there who appreciate you. Thank you.
Danke, Oleg.